What's up, Aries? Welcome to my channel, Tarot by the Intuitive Teacup. My name is Annie. Happy to have all the Aries gang out there with me, however you associate with that sign, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. All are welcome, including the cross watchers. We are going to do your June 2020 monthly tarot reading here. As always, here on YouTube, my general disclaimer about these being general messages. That means not everything I say will resonate with every single one of you out there. That is completely normal. That is completely fine. Please don't be offended if it is not your message this time around. Welcome you, as always, to come into the reading with an open heart and an open mind, but you will always be in the driver's seat, and you get to choose which messages you're going to take away here today, okay? Pieces and parts of this reading will very likely resonate. I hope lots and lots of it does. But if that's not the case, again, maybe check in next time, find a different reader, or give yourself the luxury of time. Not everything will always click instantly, and that's okay. That's typically how tarot works, okay? Yeah, that's my disclaimer. Everything else about this video will be down in the description box below for you, including the decks I'm using here today, as well as my social media channels. I am the Intuitive Teacup on Facebook and Instagram, as well as .com. Like, share, subscribe wherever you can, and we're going to hop in. The first half of this will be career and finances, and the second half will be love, romance, relationships. These are messages universe, source, spirit, whatever you believe in, wants you to hear in the month of June. That doesn't mean it will all be manifested. That timeline is entirely up to you, okay? All right, so looking at your career and finances, there's something you've been waiting for that it seems like it actually will very likely come to fruition. You have the Three of Wands, indicating wands being action and forward movement and energy being put into something. It's not so much a crossroad, but it's sort of like you're waiting to see the payoff of the energy, the endurance, however you want to say it, that you've put forth. It is sometimes indicating, though, you're waiting. It's like, well, should I keep going down this path? Is there going to be success down the road ahead? What's interesting is what follows it is the victory card. This is a card of putting in a lot of endurance and effort and finally seeing the reward, it could possibly be like the influx of money towards you, or if you've been waiting to hear back from a job, it does seem like it's a very positive card. I guess another way I could view this is potentially you're waiting to get the attention of someone who is looking elsewhere. So I'm reading for career and finances. You could certainly view this through the lens of a relationship reading, particularly if you are dealing with another fire sign, particularly a Leo, even if that means you're waiting to hear back from a Leo on a job offer or something. If that's the case, it seems like they're not focused on you at the moment. It doesn't mean they won't always be. Yeah, in fact, I think you're going to be getting word from someone eventually. I have to go with my gut instinct, though. If you've been waiting to see the reward or to hear positive news on something, right, regarding your job, your position, your title, etc., it does seem like there will be a victory there. Quite frankly, the Six of Wands, my gut reaction, it's a card of victory. It's good. It's awesome. It's feeling a tremendous sense of pride for the effort that you have put in. It's by no means a card where things are just handed to you, just haphazardly. It's no wands. You've put in the energy, the effort to receive something, in your spiritual path that matches your desires, your wants, your needs. And here it seems like, you're riding on your horse triumphantly, very proud that thing that you've been wishing and hoping and manifesting. Again, I do want to say it denotes a card of action. Based on the action, you've sort of given signs to the universe that you're ready to receive on that. And so I'm being called to say, yeah, cool. It looks very good. So that's a great message to start you off with. Again, I am being called to say if you're waiting on a Leo, it's not that you won't hear from them, but they are self-focused right now, okay? Sometimes this can be a card of like egotistical type energy. It can be a card of having too much pride. I don't think that's really the main message coming through here, but if you are waiting to hear from a fire sign, again, I love my Leo gang, not meaning to call them out on anything, but yeah, there is a sense of someone may have their head up their ass a little bit if they're being like, no, well, I don't want to talk to Aries right now. Like, being difficult is sort of what I'm getting. So maybe for the cross watchers, that will mean something, right? So then you also have a Page of Swords. So pages are frequently students or children of the zodiac, reaching out for communication. This can sometimes be wanting to up your skill set or your knowledge, frequently through the means of research, of information. It's a card of writers. People are very skilled with their voice, their communications. And then you have the Knight of Swords. So these go right in a row. It's almost like if this is representing you, you graduate from being a student to someone who's ready to go off and utilize their skills or something that they've learned, apply them, or something about being applicable. So maybe you're applying to jobs or applying to school, right? Maybe you're going back to school. But again, there's positive growth here. So that's what I mean. It's like you take a few steps forward, and sometimes this can be a card of like, well, should I keep going? Is it worth it? Is it worth my time? Is it worth my money? Is it worth the sacrifices I have to make? I do think it is. And same for this. If you've been almost, this can sometimes be a spy card, wanting to get information on people, online, on Facebook, on this, on that. If you're waiting to hear back and you're like, did they get my resume? Did they this? Did they that? It might actually be encouraging you to almost follow up with the interview or follow up with the person that you're waiting to hear from, because it could be that something else like distracted them, and then when they hear from you, Aries, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, yes, let me get back to you. This is a card of Gemini. Also, both are air signs, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight in the deck. Nothing moves more rapid and quickly than our own thoughts, right? This is indicating to me, again, a progression in your knowledge base, in your intellect. So you could be doing a lot of studying or reading up on something. Because they came up next to each other, I do take this to mean that there's two people involved here. I just heard it takes two to tango. If you're the one waiting to hear back, I do, again, I wouldn't necessarily suffer in silence. It could just be that you almost need to get this person's attention, right? If this is the employer, the company that you've applied to and it's been crickets, it might serve you all to be like, excuse me, like, do you remember me? Did you get my resume? Or, in a tactful way of like, thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate your time. Just following up to see if you needed anything else from me. That's what I mean. It's like when you jostle them a little bit, like, hey, tap them on the shoulder. They're like, oh my gosh, Aries, how are you? Yes, I've been meaning to get back to you. And it comes very quickly, but I do sort of take this to mean you needed to stick up for yourself, or you need to defend yourself, or, communicate, be a self-advocate. So very positive cards. I mean, I'm reading for career. I got to be honest, there's no pentacles showing up yet. So I do think this has to do with either changing up your position or getting some sort of good news that you've been looking forward to. If it's coming up in your career spread, it probably has to do with money, but let's see what we can, Tower moment, bottom of the deck. So the Tower moment is not always bad, but it does talk about transformation and change, usually to bring about healing as well. So if you have been unemployed, if you have already experienced a Tower moment, and you've been putting out, the fishing line, right? Trying to get a few bites on jobs or positions, I do think something comes in for you. Fairly rapidly, too, with the Knight of Swords. It's very fast-moving energy. Knights bring change and movement into our life. So it would potentially be something that you've been doing a great deal of research or studying on as well. Yeah, you've been waiting for communication from something or someone, or you've been waiting for a sign, right? If that's like a spiritual message, you've been waiting for like a sign from the universe. Oh, this is so great. And then I was clarifying the Knight of Swords. So what comes in, it's the person who's been waiting. So here's the thing. This is how tarot works. It doesn't tell me all the details always. Sometimes I get intuitive hits, but literally it's the same card being clarified by new communications and them being, that are going to allow change and momentum and movement again in career. So let's do one more card regarding, I honestly think this Six of Wands has to do with someone you're waiting on. Let's see. Any clarifiers on the Six of Wands? Can we find out more about this person? And again, maybe this is you. Maybe if someone is waiting to hear back from you, Aries, if you're adding someone to your business or your team, it could indicate that you have your eyes on other things right now. But if this person's like, hello, like, are you still interested? I do think you're going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, let's talk, come back in for the interview. Let's do a FaceTime, something like that. The High Priestess. Okay, so it could potentially be a Cancer that is sort of being stuck up or difficult. Or actually, you know what this is? It's not that. I take that back. I mean, it could be for some of you. She is the non-communicator. She's the silent one. That's what I mean. The one who's waiting on messaging. They're waiting on someone who's been very silent. I do actually like the energy of the High Priestess, though, because it indicates they're very well balanced internally. And that's really what this card is. It's a card of victory and pride because they've accomplished something great. And usually that goes hand in hand with maintaining a lot of like inner zen and chill and cool and patience. I actually think that this is what it's saying. It's like you are a fire sign, right? You're all about that action and that energy and, the fire signs, right? It's saying you need to be real chill and cool and have some patience. It's not to say, again, you can't reach out and be like, oh, I'm just, making sure I didn't get lost in the shuffle. I would actually encourage you to do that. But I do think the results will be very positive and add even more balance or harmony to the life that you're wanting to create. create or, on your spiritual journey, this does seem like a positive collaborator or coworker or something like that, if that's who you're looking to. Tell me about this Page of Swords. Some of you may want to be teachers, right? You definitely have, the idea of student and teacher. It could be something involving either travel, a job involving travel, so, planes, trains, and automobiles, something like that. It could also be something about teaching, spreading knowledge, communication. Some of you might be writers or poets or songwriters, something with lyrics or the written word, the spoken word, something like that. And yeah, oh my gosh, 10 of Pentacles, it's going to be lucrative. Earth is the slowest moving energy, so this doesn't indicate overnight success, but in the long term, this almost says to me, the more you research it and do fact finding, it's like the greater knowledge you're adding to your almost like internal bank, that by default, in effect, it's also going to have positive outcome or positive results on your income. So that's pretty incredible. And, in your career and finances, you got the 10 of Pentacles coming up. That's probably my favorite Pentacle card. So this can sometimes also have to do with a family business or legacy, inheritance for some of you, particularly if you are like a young child in a family that is quite large. Yeah, there could be, and again, I'm not predicting anything scary like death. That's not what I'm getting at here. But you could even be going into business with your brother or with your sister or someone who's, like someone you grew up with, something like that. Interesting. All right, so then let's take a look at your love and romantic relationships. It doesn't always have to be romantic love, right? It could be something, again, familial love as well with that card coming up, but we'll take a peek. So there's an earth sign that's interested in you and sees you as marriage material. But there's someone that you are potentially viewing, a Leo. Yeah, there's a couple of cards indicating Leo here with me. That you potentially have more like sexual attraction to, but you're keeping yourself guarded against other offers that come in, because it seems like you're holding out for the Leo, or you're wanting to reignite something with the Leo. Maybe you potentially were married to this person in the past or saw them as marriage potential. There's an offer coming into you, Aries. This is one of your cards. Very likely a male earth sign, though it doesn't have to be, a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Again, Knights bringing change and movement into our life, right? If any of you work in event planning or hosting weddings, if you work as a photographer, something like a career that has to do with again, events. It could be a job offer is coming your way in the, in that topic or in that area, in that career field. That was just a side note for one or two of you who needed confirmation. Romantic wise, again, very likely a male earth sign, though it doesn't have to be, could be coming towards you because they see you as someone they want to accomplish great things with, someone they want as like their counterpart, their divine pairing throughout the years. This would be a very solid offer, a very grounded offer. It wouldn't be something haphazard overnight, someone who's coming in, who maybe isn't thinking it through properly. They're just going on gut instinct. No, this is quite the opposite. This is someone who's very practical. They plan things out by the detail, which again is not always the most Aries quality. Sometimes you have to go with your gut instinct, that fire in your belly, right? You feel it and you go forward. This is probably someone who's had eyes on you for a while. It could be someone who has very strong Cancer in their chart. You might get communication in that sense, but it may not be the communication you were waiting for. It may come from an unlikely suitor that maybe you weren't anticipating, or someone you didn't even know before. Very positive. I mean, all three of these cards in a row are bright yellow. So typically in tarot, yellow cards indicate illumination, warmth, sunlight, positive cards. The thing is, something about, for me as a reader, this is like a very sexualized card. It's like, the inner beast, the inner animal within us, and, angelic touch, so to say. It is a card of Leo. It's a major arcana. So somewhere in this, Leo might figure in, particularly, if you have a Leo rising or a Leo moon, something like that. Again, there could potentially be something between a fire sign and an earth sign. Potential marriage material, right? Maybe some of you are planning a wedding and you're making practical steps to do that in the coming months. And there may be some obstacles that are really forcing you to take heart, take courage, be brave. And I'm not exactly sure what that would mean, but it's also a card of patience and, again, internal balance. That theme is coming through your spread quite a bit. But yeah, there may be unexpected obstacles or blockages, or you're having to problem solve and work your way out of things. And it could be that through this journey of trying to, plan a wedding, or metaphorically, whatever that stands for, right? Because it's going to be different for everyone. You're having to understand that while there are obstacles, there are practical ways to get out of them or to choose a new route to deal with the situation at hand. This is a card about not letting the negative thoughts win. It's not letting the negative thoughts, the fear, the pessimism hold you back. These swords are pointing down. So the conversations you're having with yourself or with the people around, it doesn't mean they're based in fact or truth. They're down. If the swords were up, that means they're vibing high. They're channeling messages from a greater source. It's positivity, enlightenment, as we say in tarot, like messages for your best and highest good. Here, it's not so much that. Again, it's for a lot of you, it's probably the fears associated with whatever you're planning or whomever you're waiting for or desiring. You're letting the fear stop you. You're letting it hold you back. For me in a love reading, this is frequently the idea of putting all your eggs in one basket, and it's almost like shielding your heart so no one else has access to it. This could say if you're waiting on a Leo and you've decided they're my soulmate, they're my person, I'm not even going to entertain the idea of anybody else. Here's the thing though, you might be shooting yourself in the foot because when this card comes up, it's indicating decisions made in a lower vibration, a state of lack that, well, no one else will ever be as good as the Leo, so I'm not going to give anyone else a try. Again, I don't need to tell you, Aries, that's not the most optimistic way of looking at things, but let's try something on that. What does Aries need? Yeah, it's inner conflict, absolutely. Could also be competition. You may feel like this person you're vying for, even if it's not a Leo, it doesn't have to be, but the one that you're magnetically attracted to, you could feel like you're in competition for their attention. I do keep wanting to say Leo, potentially someone who has both Leo and Cancer in their chart, like a Cancer-Leo cusper. Or that could also be a timestamp that maybe something very positive and change and movement in your love life could happen in, Leo season, which would be the let's see, I think that's, sorry, let me think about this. End of July into early August. Yeah, absolutely. Let's clarify both. Yeah, if for those who are single, you might not be single as long as you think, as long as you're anticipating, especially if it's been painfully slow on in the love department. It could indicate there's a Leo or potentially for some of you, a single female that might be interested in you. Or if this is you, it's indicating it's going to go from 1 to 2, two beings, two beasts, that kind of thing. So, all right. And clarify 8 of Swords. How can we help Aries out of this lack state or whatever that stands for? That could also indicate a person who is fearful to come to you and express their truth that they still have feelings for you, particularly if it is a person from the past that you split with. This is like the single ladies, single man's card. It could be someone who's wanting to come back and rekindle something, particularly if you were married, but they're fearful of your reaction or how you're going to handle the situation. So they may be keeping their feelings, again, guarded and not being upfront with the truth. Yeah, for a lot of you, you're holding out for a person of the past. You're sort of longing on the 3 of Cups that used to provide you emotional fulfillment. But this is saying that the hand of God or Source Spirit is trying to usher in a new beginning, potentially with an earth sign. But even if this earth sign has come forward to flirt with you, you're like, oh, no, that's not for me. Like, no, thank you. But have you even tried the cup? That's sort of what it's saying is, I guess, don't, what is a good expression for this? Don't resign yourself to any certain outcome. Be fluid, be optimistic, be open to new blessings that maybe you didn't anticipate or see coming, because it might just be a better match for you, right? And again, everybody has free will. If there's a person of the past that you're hoping to hear from, doesn't mean you can't consider it, but I never advocate putting your life on pause for anyone, and 4s in tarot do tend to indicate that. It's the safety zone, it's the comfort zone, it's familiar, and in some sense there's a comfortability about what is familiar, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. This is a card of boredom and complacency. So while you are desiring new love and like a freshening up of your emotions, of your desires, it's confounded, or however you want to say it, compounded with this card, which is negativity, negative thoughts, pessimism, or again, fear about moving away from the people we know and going after. It is about having faith in the divine, that if they're going to usher in someone new, maybe it's the person you've really needed, but it's not always whom you wanted. Again, be open to new things coming in for you. There's definitely like some positivity in that. Potential soulmate energy, new soulmate energy, right? I like this Knight of Pentacles. That's looking positive. All right, Aries, that's what I got for you for the month of June. Please do like, share, subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what resonates, and I will see you very soon for more tarot.